welcome to the Quantum Leap Your Business and Life podcast. My name is Bethany London, and I am an energetic VC supporting CEOs and entrepreneurs in multiplying revenues and opportunities of their business through intuitive guidance and energetic healing. I am obsessed with finding and releasing blocks so that you can start receiving the guidance and opportunities that will be bringing you quantum leaps with ease. If you are looking to upgrade your business, life, spirituality, or need a perspective shift to flow, you've come to the right place. Leave it to me to pull out the juicy stories, quantum leap hacks, and how our inspiring guests have tackled obstacles and gotten into the flow to reach new heights of success. My intention is to bring clarity and massive awareness that infinite possibilities are everywhere. Your next moment could be a miraculous one. Thank you for being on this journey with me. Let's uncover their strategies, have fun, and see how we can quantum leap together. Right, today I'm so excited to have the fabulous Susan Wagner with me for Quantum Leap Your Business and Life. She has been she's really like one of my besties now. I think we talk almost every day. Totally miss her if I don't talk to her. We have been doing Being One programs for over a year now. It's a free monthly healing. We have also done the 6 weeks to turn your life around course, and we have another one coming up if you guys are interested. But she is absolutely phenomenal. She is a medium. And I mean, I will let her speak for herself.
Oh my gosh.
We're better at building people up. We're better at building people up. So there are so many mediums out there and on TV, and people receive healing from learning about what they see with a passed on loved one, right? Yes. The added sparkly benefit that Susan has that those people are not offering is the other level of healing. It's like a whole nother level. So it's not just like he died in peace, he's loving you, I see him on the side of the road, this is what happened. It's not that. It's they want to pull this program from you that you're still walking around with. They want to pull this, because maybe anyway, we'll let Susan get into it, but it's about the healing journey working with a medium. And also she is one of our corporate healers at London Heights, and we'll go into all of it. How's that for an intro?
Thank you. That was really good. Felt so special. A little bit about me is exactly what Bethany had said, is that I work with your loved ones on the other side. I'm able to communicate with them in a way that you bring a problem or a life situation or a life experience that you're having. I'm able to see where your links are of where you learned that pattern from. And often these loved ones will come in and say, they'll show me the experience where you actually learned that behavior from. They'll actually show me how they responded to something that you had done, and you took it as there was something wrong about you, and they are coming through showing me that is not at all what had happened.
Let's talk about me, for example. So I'll be telling her about a relationship thing. Next thing you know, she's like, oh, your grandma just came in. She's like, that's my program.
Right?
You don't need to have that. We didn't communicate or whatever. I mean, I'm just making stuff up, but some version of you got this from her. That was what happened in her and my grandpa's relationship. And so let's release that on you, because you don't need to repeat that pattern. Because a lot of us, and me as a healer too, when I'm looking at clients and working on something, I'm like, oh, well, wasn't your mom like this? And then they're like, oh yeah. And then I'm like, and how about let's go to your grandma. There's usually this reoccurring theme that's happening through the generations, and it's up to us to Yeah.
And it's interesting because I see it as a walking around the mountain, right? Like unconsciously, not knowing that you're patterning somebody else's link, right? Like your grandmother and your grandpa might have fought a lot, a way of communicating. And then you're in your relationship and you're fighting. And it's like, wait a second, you are totally marrying them as if this is how you communicate with your partner. And you know what is so fascinating is that I'm finding a lot of businesses, like when I'm working with my clients, and they'll be like going into the work thing, like, oh, I'm having issues with work. Like there's this one lady who was having problems with a coworker. And I'm like, oh my gosh, your grandmother and your grandfather is here. And I could see very quickly, it was like a military, like strict energy. And I was like, you need to let go of those energies in order for, you to move forward. So, that client was able to let it go and she got the promotion.
Amazing.
Like amazing, right? And so it's interesting because we're just that's and I want to go into the money thing. I want to go into like the money, the value of money for some reason.
Okay, so we'll talk about you a little bit more and how you came here in a minute. Let's go into money. People love money.
People love money. Yeah.
So we're bringing, so we work with these corporations, we work with a lot of business owners. And one of the things that we got the download is to bring to life this money course. And it was just so fascinating with the 6 weeks to turn your relationship around, because we're literally channeling that whole entire thing. So the guidance that comes through kind of blows our mind too. So we're very excited about this new IRR, Intuitive Revenue Revolution course that will be happening, I think the end of March. So stay tuned or hop on our websites. But yeah, let's go. Money.
Yeah. So I was having a conversation with someone about money and the value of it. And we're talking about how we go to these energy healing sessions, or we go to the salon and we pay money for these as an exchange, right? And it's like, what value do you hold money at, right? Like you will hold money differently for a salon because it helps you physically look better, and physically your appearance will change, right? Like you're willing to spend the $200 for your hair or whatever you're having done. Okay, or more. But there's a value attached to it, right? And, I was going through these, I went through a healing session with someone, and they had money attached to, like, you could have 3 sessions for this amount, 6 sessions for this amount, or 1 or 10 sessions for this amount. And my mind immediately went to the lower amount of money, right? And I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I value? I mean, in hindsight, it was more money, but that's not the point here. The point is that I could only see the dollar figures, right? And I attached my worth to that dollar figure. Like if I had spent, I'm saying this so backwards because I can see the energies. Like I can see how if I had just gone to there was like a value attached to it. Like 100% money has a value, right? But the point is that, people will come to me and they'll be like, oh my God, I can't afford you. And I'm like, well, part of me is like that value, like how much do you value you? And the other interesting thing is that people value things, right? Like your hair, like it's got a value.
Gas. It's a no-brainer for me to go spend $120 or $130 now to fill up my car, right? And I don't,
right.
I mean, it sucks, right? Supposedly, but I don't like think twice about it because it's a necessary thing. There's that too. hair to a lot of people is a necessary thing. Like that's just part of operating in life.
But
Healer.
yeah, as a healer, people don't, I think it's because it's not, it's like they can't see it, right? And so they can't value it until they go through it. It's interesting because I feel like the more money I spend on a healer, the more my life expands. It's
100%.
yeah. And I get it back 10 times fold, right? Like it is so interesting to me, like to watch it. Like we are in this energy of lack, right? Like, oh, I can't spend that on myself. I can't take care of myself. I can't, like, I need to use it for other things, right? But once we allow ourselves to experience the $1,000 healer, it like, I don't know, my life expands hugely. Like I go through big leaps when the more money I spend. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and like for me, I'm like, there's two things. So for me, when I first spent $7,000, my first $7,000 on a program, which was a lot of money, my intention was that it would come back, and I intuitively checked in. So I understand maybe not everyone has that, but like you can feel whether something feels good or not. And I heard that I was going to get like $23,000 out of it like by the time it was over. And I did. I manifested 20. So the 7,000, like I committed. I didn't want to do it. I'm like, that's so expensive. I did it, got the money back. Then when I invested in the $20,000 coach, I'm like, I don't know. Literally the next day, the money came back. But like, for me, I was resistant, right? Because the cost felt so great. But yeah, it was like, boom, here you go. You made the right decision. And not that that's going to happen every time, but it's really important for people to tune in and I think and feel in their body whether or not they're making a right decision versus just signing up or not signing up. Like, what does your body say? Not your head, get into the body. But also what I wanted to share is like the relationship stuff. Because as coaches and healers, we have friends, we have clients, and they're like, I really want you to just work a miracle for me today, and my life is going to change, and my relationship is going to change. And it's like they keep complaining. Let's just talk about friends. They keep complaining about their life, and we're like, there's something you can do about it, but like they don't want to. They aren't ready, and we're not here to push you.
Yeah, that is, and it's like going around the mountain, right? It's that going around the mountain thing again. Like they're not ready to see it. They're not ready to look at it. And it's interesting because a lot of friends will look at you or look at me and they'll be like, I want that. And I'm like, well, you can have that, right? Like the joy, like I want to say 90% extremely happy all the time. But it took me a while to get there. Like, right? I had hours and hours of cleaning up my energy and shifting it to be able to witness where I am now. And I can see these friends come in, they're like, I need help. And I'm like, okay,
Let's go.
let's go. But it's almost, I want to say, Bethany, it's attached to like, we're so programmed that we have to have physical things with our money, right? We have to have like a physical attachment with.
Because yeah, I was telling somebody the other day, I'm like, I don't, because I was rejecting a client. I was rejecting a client. I'm like, nope, sorry, I don't get that you're open. And they're like, well, this faith thing, it's like I have to believe it when I can't see it. I'm like, yeah, that's what religion is. That's what God is. You know, you have to have faith that it's going to work, or I don't want to work with you. And like that's a leap. That's a leap of faith. You know?
Yeah, it's more fear over or faith over fear, right?
Yeah.
Having that faith And it's almost believing, right? It's not just believing in a higher power, it's believing in you. Like, right. And then you could go into like, did your mom believe in herself, right? Did your grandparents believe in what they had, right? Or were they in the energy of lack? I mean, my grandparents loved them dearly, very simple people, but most of us were in the energy of you have to work hard. You have to, you know, do 80 hours weeks in order to
Yeah, this
feel
is a whole new
worthy.
generation of investing in ourselves. I don't think that was like even working out and going to the gym. I don't think that was, I'm like thinking of Mad Men. Like there were some episodes where they went to some funny dance clothes and like some funny workout clothes that weren't really workout clothes. But yeah, it wasn't like normalized to take care of yourself other than to look like, yes, looking good, but like not
Yeah,
working out, investing in your mental wellness. And like, this is a new era. I think before it was you were made to feel bad, shame, blame for having thoughts. And then next thing you know, you might end up in some asylum because we weren't given avenues to work through that. Now it's common to work through that and to like believe in ourselves and to make independent free will choices versus this is the way you must get married and have a family and work and da 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 da, you know.
100%. And I can speak for myself, right? Like, so my mom, love her dearly, stay-at-home mom, but I patterned that, right? Like I was like, I need to be a stay-at-home mom. And I am. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world because I love my children. But I had that reference of I can be the stay-at-home mom. But then I also have this reference of I want to be more than just a stay-at-home mom. Right. And that's where the business part, like I'm working through that part of believing in everything's possible. Right. And again, this is all the past life stuff. This is all my mother's generational stuff, my grandmother's, like the women stay at home and work in the house. Right. And so I am rewiring my DNA in order for me to have like this amazing company and amazing family all in one, because
And
it's all
everything is
possible.
possible. Everything is possible. So let's rewind a little bit because I'm sure people want to hear about you and how you got into all of this because it is obviously a very unique field of work.
So yeah, so I spent $7,000 and I met Bethany in this course.
Yeah, that's where we met. Wait, but what about like the gratitude? That was all before.
Oh, yes. So I had my third child. And I remember thinking I was at the bottom of the barrel. And I was thinking there's got to be something more to life than just this. And not that this is bad. Like, I think that, I was staying at home. I might have been a little depressed because I was talking to children all day. And it's enough for a mom to question what's more than just me being a servant to these little beings, which I 100% love dearly. Like I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. I just knew that there was something more. So I picked up a book. Well, a book actually kept falling I bought it and I didn't read it, but then it kept falling, like it kept being on the counter, or it would be like right in front of the computer, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I should read this book. So I read it. I started, it was The Secret.
The Secret. Okay.
And I did it every single day for like 30 days. It was longer than that. So I started it when my youngest was born, which is in March. So, and I went to Iowa. So I had done this gratitude, the whole thing. I woke up, everything. I'm grateful for this stone. I'm grateful for this computer. Like any thought I had, I was being grateful for. Like I was grateful for, the bed that I slept in. I was grateful for the people that made the bed. I was grateful for the factory. I remember sitting at a parade and I was like sitting there in this gratitude, just remembering, I'm like, oh my God, I'm grateful for all these people and for the show, for all the people that put on the show. Like every second I was being in the energy of gratitude. And I watched this soldier come down and he came over to me and he saluted me and he went back in his formation and finished. And I was like, and Tom,
out of like all these people watching the parade.
Yeah. Out of the whole street, he walked over to me, saluted me, and then went back. And Tom was like, what was that? What was that? I'm like, I'm just grateful for it. I'm just grateful because I went into energy of I'm grateful for all the men and women that fought for our country because it was around Patriots Day and it was around the Revolutionary War. And so I went into the gratitude for everything that the Patriots had done, right? And so I had done that. Then I was still in the energy, I was still doing it, and things were shifting. Like I was like, wow, like this is like, I was so happy. My family was so happy. It was like a ripple effect. Like it was crazy. I went back to Iowa where my parents were. And I remember driving in the car and I looked up and I saw this cloud and it literally changed colors, Bethany. It went from it was like doing the rainbow colors, but the cloud was the only thing that was changing colors. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that is amazing. And I even said to my daughter, I'm like, are you watching this? She goes, yeah, Mom, it's changing colors. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, is there a rainbow around? There was like no rainbow. It was just in the cloud. It was like so fascinating. So then I come home and I'm still in the gratitude, still doing it. And I remember sitting at this little farm and I was ordering something and I heard, you're one of us. And I looked around, there was nobody there. And I was like, what the heck is that? And I shut down all my gifts because I didn't know what it was. It freaked me out. I stopped doing gratitude. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm like, blah. And then I got anchored back into, my $7,000 course. And I took it and things just opened up. And that was what? 3 years later, 4 years later, and things just opened up. What?
Reminded you who you were.
What did I hear I was?
Yeah, like through that journey, you were reminded who you were.
Oh, yeah. 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 It was really fascinating. And then I discovered like mediumship and I was like, oh my God, I'm a medium just like everybody else, right? I'm like, and they're like, no. Look at what you can do. And I was like, oh my gosh, I totally get it. I totally get it. I get what I can do.
For those, just like, let's pause. For those who are watching, there's intuitive, there's so many things. There's intuitive, there's oracle, there's Akashic records, there's mediumship. So like we could define all that. And there's more that I don't even know about, right? But like me, a medium talks to spirits that have transitioned on. Not that I don't do that, but like I can talk to people that have passed on, but they're not like, I mean, they might be coming and visiting. I'm just not paying attention. That's not something I have like, oh, they're showing me an apple or a red bird, because she did this whole thing. She's like, your grandpa, he's showing me a red cardinal or something. And I'm like, oh yeah,
Okay.
that's like he carved. That's what my grandpa carved. He carved birds, and there was a red cardinal that I was supposed to give to my dad that I had forgotten to bring back home from my grandparent to give to my dad. Like things like that. Like I don't get that. She gets those things. So that's like mediumship. I just want to explain, because then there's the intuitive, there's the energy healing. That's all very different.
Yeah. So yeah. So then here I am. That's things just beautifully unfolded. And I should add, like before all this, I'm going to say this. Before the whole gratitude thing, right? Like I was dyslexic, right? And so I didn't know that I couldn't find my purpose, right? I could not find what I was good at, right? And I'm like, what is my purpose? I kept asking it over and over and over again. And then things started unfolding. And they're like, here, this is what your purpose is. This is why. And I do believe that that's why I'm dyslexic, because my brain can process things at a much faster rate. I mean, the other day I sat with a client and she had like 4 spirits come through, and I just rattled them off. I'm like, these are the energies that we need to clear. Let's clear them so that you can move forward. Like it was just, yeah, it was really fascinating.
So let's talk about corporate healing. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I think she just shared her quantum leap of honoring who you are. Like that is your quantum leap.
That's my quantum leap. Yeah.
So
I found
beautiful.
my purpose.
Yeah. So in corporate healing, she has her way of communicating to spirits, and we both like a lot of past lives show up. So I think that's always interesting. But if you can imagine as an owner of, a company or CEO of a company sitting down, I'm always like, I was just, I have us sitting down at the table with, the C-suite team, and they're just like, what is going on here? Because we're just like channeling all this information, and she's like, oh, that's your grandpa's energy, that's why this isn't working out, you're bringing that into the company. Like, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So a lot of times we mirror, because when you're a baby, you have to learn how to be a human, right? In this lifetime. You sometimes can draw from your past experiences, but you're learning from your parents. Oh my God, there's heaviness in my chest. But so we have all of these influences, like our grandparents, our parents, like, and how they view or how they have their work ethics or how they live life is what you mirror. So I have this one client where I can clearly see a father energy come in, and I can see where the company had failed in his lifetime. And so I would have my client clear it within his energy field so that he can let go of, which then brings up the money problems, right? The bankruptcies or where they had learned that pattern, then it mirrors within your company, right? And so unconsciously, we think that we're running these businesses, and it's like, well, how did you learn how to run a business, right? Like you had to have learned it from somewhere. It's not just all trial and error, right? I mean, it is, but in some sense, you're
We're
pulling.
talking about, I mean, obviously we can't disclose clients' names, but this is a publicly traded company now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like once you let go of those energies, right, it will shift what? It will shift things. Yeah.
So good. Yeah. And there's so many reasons people get into whatever levels they are at companies. From conversations, it's like, I must provide. It's like, what energy are you bringing into the job that you have or the position that you have? What is the foundation? What is the thought behind it? What is your motivator? Is it overwhelm? Is it must provide for the family? If I don't provide for the family or my employees, then they all starve. And like, that's what I find is like a common thing for the CEOs, is they're like holding the weight of the world on their shoulders, because it's not just for their family, it's also for all of the families of the
Yeah.
employees, that like really creates this massive pressure on them.
And that the other thing that I'm finding with a lot of clients is that work is, it holds a definition, right? Like it's not supposed to be fun, right? Like if you look at all your ancestors, like it's something that you have to do. Like have to go make money, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
when you find the joy in it, it's not work. Like I can honestly say, being a healer and what I do, oh my gosh, I love it so much. Like I finally found something that I truly love and that I get paid for it, right? Like that's how
I'm just
people,
hearing, but I can't just quit and go do something that I love. Like that's what I'm hearing. So, but there are ways to find love in the jobs that you're doing, or transitioning to one that you do within a
yeah.
company.
And you can look at why you're having those feelings. Like, right? If you look at the patterns within, like, did your dad enjoy their life? Did they enjoy going to work? Like most of the time people are like, it's like a chore, right? It's funny because I do the household stuff around here, right? I'm going to talk about, my second job, which is, taking care of these, my first job is me, right? Like really, that's, if I'm not in a great state of being, then my world is chaotic. So my first job is me being balanced and doing my work. My second is my family, right? And my company. And so, when I'm doing those laundry, I was complaining about it. And I was like, oh, I should find joy in this. Like, how do I find joy in it? So I had to let go of all of the energies of, like, my mom thought it was work, or my dad, or my grandmother, or like, right? Like, it's work. Like, when we let go of the work, like the heaviness behind the work, and we don't find the joy in going to work, like with folding that laundry, it means I have children that love me and came here to be with me, right? I go to work, I get to be around people that like might push me to the next level. When you look at work differently, it'll shift your world instead of complaining about it. I find that people complain about stuff a lot.
Like, I want to share about laundry. When I do laundry, I'm like, okay, I have 45 minutes. I'm going to get this, and this done. So to me, it's like a timer. It doesn't make it heavy, but it makes me productive.
No, but it like you can feel the heaviness of work, right? When you try that word on, can you feel it? Like, well,
I've done what I've been a solopreneur, or what, not solopreneur. I've been an entrepreneur since basically the beginning. So I don't know that work has, I love work.
I can feel the heaviness. And I think from me, from my father, right? Like he had to work all the time.
Right.
Like he was always working. Like there was no time for us. Sorry, Dad. He has since passed, and he pops in every once in a while. And I'm like,
hi, Dad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes.
She's done some great healing with her dad.
Oh my God. Amazing. And it's like, life is meant to be fun and adventurous. And it doesn't mean go quit your day job and like blow caution to the wind. It just means find fun and joy in it. Which,
Yeah. Well, I think there was a huge theme here for everyone to really pick up on with the, family lines and lineage and stuff, ancestors. So good.
so
And they're all
good.
showing up. They're all showing up for us, available to support coaching you with Susan.
Oh my God. And they 100% want to talk to you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm learning.
Oh my gosh, yes. Susan is like, for a while when she opened up this like mediumship aspect, she's like, oh my gosh, the spirits are here all the time. And they're like, you need to go talk to somebody. She's like, office hours only. She had to create office hours because they were like popping up left and right and wanting her to talk to certain people. And she's like, no, I'm not going to go hunt people down for you. Like, you need to bring them to me.
Oh, and they do. They do. What?
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they find ways. They find ways. It's so cool. So
Yeah.
cool to witness. So, well, I would say I always close out with 3 steps to quantum leaping. What would you say are the 3 steps to quantum leaping?
I immediately hear trust in yourself. And a lot of us have not, because we were taught that we should not trust in ourselves. And it goes back to like when you're little, right? You're not able to trust yourself because you're not old enough. You're not, I don't want to say good enough. There's that enough word. Sorry. Enough and I are having a relationship.
Deleting enough.
So yeah, I would say trust and believe, right? Like,
Yeah, of course. And the other 2?
just take action, follow what is given to you. It might take you a while to get there. Hey, but I'm laughing because it took me, Bethany, I can say this, right? Yeah. Bethany and I had been working for a very long time. Well, it feels like a long time. We probably have past lives together a long time. And she's like, you should just open up a bank account. I'm like, oh my God, I can't open up a bank account. Can't do it. She's like, Susan, it's not a big deal. I'm like, but it is. And she was very patient with me. But then when I did it and I took action, it like shifted things like in really beautiful ways to where more clients started showing up. And
there was a place to put the money.
Yeah. And the other thing, so action. And then, the other thing that I usually say is pay attention to what you created and you can shift it. So it goes back to believing in you, right? So,
okay, people need more info on, I know what you're saying, but
yeah, I know you do. So when I wake up in the morning, I say, oh my gosh, I'm super excited to be here. And I'm super excited to learn and to see what I created, because your outside world is your thoughts, right? And most of us we're told when we're younger that our thoughts didn't matter, or that our imagination was just what it was. It's just an imagination, that you shouldn't believe in the imagination, but you imagined, or unconsciously or consciously, you created your outside world. Now, if you don't like what you see in your outside world, you can 100% shift it. and I can talk to this because I have tested the boundaries. I have done it to where I'm then tuned with my angels and guides. You all have angels and guides that you can call on. You just have to ask for their help and their guidance. They cannot help you unless you ask for them.
And then go to her number one quantum leap, trust and faith and belief.
Yes. And I was cooking something on the stove, and I had touched the pan like so much that it burned me. Like it was like almost like I left it there for a while, and then I realized that I was burned my hand. And I heard at that moment, you have a choice. You can either feel the pain or you can let it go. And I let it go. I sent a ton of light to it and I released it. And I went about my day and I was like, oh my God, that really did not happen. I was like, that was just, I'm making that stuff up. So again, I was like, it happened. To where I was a little TMI, but I'm about to get into the shower and I backed up, and our registers are wicked hot that like it can burn you. And I had fallen back for some reason and my leg got burned. It was by my ankle. And I heard again, you can choose to feel it or you can let it go. And I sent a ton of light to it. And I got in the shower and it was gone. Like there was no, like, you know, when you get burned and then you put it under.
About skiing the other day and how you started to feel knee pain.
Oh, yeah.
And like, nope.
I'm not feeling this. I'm
down that road.
I'm not feeling it. I'm going to shift it. Yeah.
Knee pain.
And I did ask, I'm like, why am I feeling this? Like what happened to me, right? That I need to feel this. And then of course I saw the patterns and I was like, okay, I don't need to feel that anymore. And sometimes we pick up other people's energies. Well, I shouldn't say sometimes, we unconsciously do. If you have ever walked into a room and there's like so much laughter and joy, you can feel that and you instantly become laughter and joy, right? The same way with the opposite effect. You can walk into a room where you feel like, I walked into a birthday party one time and I was like, what happened here? It was like dense energy. I felt like I had to weed through, like I just felt the energy. And this was before I had done any of this energy work. I was like, oh my God, this room feels heavy. I'm like, and it was because the host was a little upset with me over something that happened, but I could feel the energy. I was like, wow.
Created that.
I created it. But you know what? To be fair to that person, I was very grateful for her showing up because it showed me what I needed to see in order to open up all my doors. Yeah. It was really beautiful.
So I think everybody listening can see how this is a whole elevated consciousness. It's a whole nother level of awareness when dealing with things that are happening in your life, issues, challenges, frustrations, etc. And being able to bring somebody like Susan in to support you in that, because if it's not something that you are where you're at currently, like it will help. And probably, hopefully just listening to this will have supported. But I would say after working with us, I would say all my clients are more intuitive. They're all more intuitive and like, you know, things are clicking and making sense more than before.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you said that because I have worked with clients, like one specifically, I remember saying, I saw a link and it was something about how she communicated with her husband. And I was like, oh my God, your grandfather's here. And I could tell, and I showed her like their communication, like I gave her a specific, and
Yeah.
she's like, oh my God, yes. I go, well, you're mirroring that, right? And so she was able to see links more quickly. It was really beautiful because she's like, oh my God, I can see this link and I can understand why I do it this way. Like they could understand what journey they were on. Yeah.
So cool.
And then when you look back at your whole life, then you can see why you went through the journey that you went through in order to get to where you are now.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, so amazing to have you on. Her and I do these channeled healings, monthly global healings every month. As of right now, they're free. Don't know how long they will be. If you're interested in a channeled course around love and relationships, or 6 weeks to turn your relationship around, is available on my website, actually. And then we have the IRR, Intuitive Revenue Revolution, coming up end of March. So exciting. Good things happening. Yeah. I love channeling with Susan. It's the best thing ever.
Oh my gosh. It is like really those monthly calls.
Yeah.
Are
mind blowing, or not mind blowing in a positive way.
Yes. But
just stuff that comes through is so good.
It's so good. Yeah.
Magic. And the awarenesses, the courses, it's just like, wow, I would have never looked at something like that before. Like I'm even blown away.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it's interesting because I sometimes am not able to see when I'm in my stuff, right? And then I need to have, Bethany or somebody else help me to see. There's one time where Bethany literally, I got kicked out of a group and Bethany was just sat there and laughed at me. And I was crying. I was like, it's not funny. It's like blah, crying, bawling. And she had shown me some things that I wasn't able to see. And so it's beautiful when you have people that are willing to either trigger you, right? I'm at the point where Bethany does not trigger me anymore. I just am like, I know that you're helping me, but it's not helping me right now. Because I used to get triggered. I used to be like, I'm not staying here in this energy with you because you're making fun of me. And I would have walked off and left it and been like, you're not a good friend. Right? Like I had to clear a lot of energy around to where I could just laugh about it.
Yeah.
Now I can laugh
all the time too. So we're golden.
Oh my gosh. It is amazing, right? Like when you can laugh at your triggers, it's really beautiful.
Amazing. Next level.
Next level. Yeah.
All right. Well, you're amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for this time. Thank you.
We finally did this.
So beautiful and amazing. I love you all. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Thank you for being so amazing, Bethany. Truly great.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you loved what you heard, be sure to subscribe and let me know by leaving a review on iTunes. It fuels me to keep bringing you more guests. And if you aren't already following me on social media, check out @BethanyLondon and visit BethanyLondon.com for online programs and free healing opportunities, or our corporate healing platform, LondonHeights.co. Don't hesitate to tag me and our guests with your favorite quotes for a reshare. I can't wait to connect with you in the next episode. And in the meantime, wishing you that quantum leap.